Battle Through the Heavens God, the Flame Emperor Chapter 326, the Spiritual Power Classification and Rank of the Fighting Formation Division. The core of this silver formation is actually standing in the spirit realm inside my body slowly. And looking at the appearance, it seems that he is very afraid of the magic core inscription hanging on my spirit realm. Xiaoyan also found something wrong. How? Have you absorbed the core of the silver formation? Elder Zhu also looked at Xiaoyan and asked. Absorb. Xiaoyan frowned upon hearing this, and then hesitated. How? Not absorbed. Old Zhu's voice also changed a bit, and then looked at Xiaoyan anxiously. No. The core of the silver formation seems to have stopped at the spirit realm in my body. Xiaoyan also said. Truthfully, after all, there is no need to hide this kind of thing. What? Don't tell me that you have condensed the inscription of your life. Elder Zhu just heard Xiaoyan's voice, and his face changed greatly, and then he said with a bit of anger. The rarity of Dou formation masters is as precious as cleaning sand in the ocean, and the birth of a Dou formation master must be a symbol of a peak powerhouse. As for the training of the battle formation master, the first and most important thing is to condense the core inscriptions. After all, only with the core inscriptions can the formations be condensed to attack the enemy, and then the next step of cultivation can be carried out. So this is also the reason why Elder Zhu's face changed greatly when he heard that Xiaoyan had condensed the core inscriptions of life. After all, the condensed inscriptions of life are no less important than the douqi exercises that he chose to practice. Once the condensed core inscriptions are wrong or the condensed core inscriptions of life are too weak, then if you want to recondense other core inscriptions of life in the future, the difficulty is undoubtedly more difficult than reaching the sky. Moreover, if the condensed core inscription is too weak, it will greatly limit his future achievements, so this old Zhu is also quite angry. You kid is really worrying. Elder Zhu also snorted coldly, then stared at Xiaoyan. Senior Zhu, I can't help it. Xiaoyan was also helpless, vaguely remembering the nameless old man at that time, and it was a last resort at that time, otherwise Xiaoyan would not have condensed the core inscription so easily. It was only vaguely condensed under unsolved conditions. Summon out the core inscription of your life and show it to me. Elder Zhu also changed his previous expression and said to Xiaoyan again. Now that this kid has condensed the core inscription of life, then if he wants to recondensed, even Zhu Lao is helpless, and now he has to pray. The core inscription of life that this kid has condensed should not be too bad, otherwise it will not be too bad for the core of life. The strength of the inscription is related to the future cultivation of this Dou formation master. Yeah. Xiaoyan also responded, and then closed the door. At the same time, a faint spiritual force slowly appeared in the room. Haha, this kid's mental strength has actually reached the level of nearly 6,000 core inscriptions. This really surprised me. Elder Zhu also said slowly. Then the next moment, before the voice of Zhu Lao, a pure white light also slowly flew out from Xiaoyan's body from the spirit realm. At the moment when the core inscription of Xiaoyan's divine movement appeared, all the scrolls in the room seemed to be as if the courtiers surrendered to the king. Numerous scrolls stood quietly, and they exuded an air of great respect. This is. When Elder Zhu saw the core inscription of life in front of Xiaoyan, his pupils shrank fiercely. Because even Zhu Lao's eyesight can't see the source of this core inscription. But one thing is certain, the strength of Xiaoyan's core inscription of life, and the core inscription of life that terrifies him are even worse. Old Zhu. Xiaoyan was also at a loss, then looked at old Zhu who was a little shocked in front of him and said slowly. Where did the core inscription of your life come from? According to my guess, it shouldn't be condensed by you, it's a bit like inheriting from others. Zhu Lao also stared at the core inscription of the divine life in front of him. When Xiaoyan heard the words, he also looked at it carefully. The core inscription in front of Xiaoyan was originally a square rune the size of a fist, but when Xiaoyan summoned it this time, Xiaoyan abruptly discovered that the size of the core inscription of divine movement was impressive. With the size of his own palm, it has grown several times compared to before, and Xiaoyan can feel that the spiritual power in his body is continuously increasing, which must be related to the core inscription of the divine movement. I got this core inscription of life from a certain ruin. Xiaoyan also answered truthfully. Relics. What ruins? Zhu Lao heard the words, and his tone also became extremely loud. apparently found something. I remember that the nameless old man didn't seem to say his name in the end. But this core inscription of life seems to be named Spirit. Xiaoyan also thought about it carefully and said, God move. Zhu Lao also shook his head, and then he didn't stop there too much. After all, from Zhu Lao's eyes, he knew that Zhu Lao didn't know the core inscription of this God move. Although I don't know the strength of the core inscription of your life, I don't think it's too weak. I'll tell you about the rank and some things about this battle formation master. Zhu Lao also spoke slowly, but Xiaoyan could also see that the strong man in front of him was in a very emotional mood. Happy, after all, there is nothing in this world more happy than to find a person who is connected with the same vein. Okay, Xiaoyan was very excited when he heard the words. When he came to the incense pavilion, what troubled Xiaoyan the most was his spiritual power and this fighting formation master. After all, Xiaoyan's use of spiritual power and fighting formation master was no different from that of a layman. Spiritual power is different from soul power, but it complements soul power. The cultivation of spiritual power is divided into 7 levels. Battle formation, immortal master, celestial master, earth master, emperor master, holy master. Condensing the text is the first step to becoming a battle formation master. You have the qualifications to cultivate spiritual power, open up spirit realm and condense the core inscriptions of your life. The formation of an array is the second step, which is to master the core inscriptions familiarly, and then condense a formation to besiege or attack the enemy. As for the other 5 levels, they also represent their enormous spiritual power. As for the ranks of Do formation masters, it is the same 10th rank, but the promotion of each rank depends on spiritual power, and the strength of Do formation masters is also related to the number of core inscriptions that appear from spiritual power. The more core inscriptions that are condensed, the more terrifying the formation you cast. After Zhu Lao finished speaking, he slowly laughed. Chapter 327, The Way to Practice Spiritual Power. When Xiaoyan heard this, he also carefully tasted what Zhu Lao said. Old Zhu, where is your rank? The next moment, Xiaoyan seemed to remember something, and hurriedly asked. His pupils became extremely hot. Since this old Zhu knows so many secrets, his own strength is undoubtedly extremely terrifying. Hehe, you kid knows what to say to me. But it's okay to tell you. My spiritual power has entered the level of a celestial master. As for the Do formation master, I have also set foot on the 6th grade Do formation master. Zhu Lao also smiled slowly, as if he was speaking in bland and unremarkable words. Celestial master. After the spiritual power has set foot on the immortal master, it is able to compete with the strong immortal warriors. As for this celestial master who is more powerful than the immortal master, it must be even more terrifying. 6th rank battle formation master. The strength of the formation displayed by the 6th rank battle formation master is terrifying and comparable to that of some Docian level powerhouses. Xiaoyan was also extremely shocked in his heart. Hehe, what? Little guy, you're shocked. Elder Zhu also noticed that Xiaoyan's eyes were a little dull, and he spoke slowly, with some tenderness in his voice. Senior, with your spiritual power at the level of a celestial master, I am afraid that some ordinary Docian will not be your opponents. Xiaoyan also spoke with difficulty, because even though Xiaoyan had a high evaluation of Zhu Lao, but now the fact is right in front of you, and it's hard to believe. There is such a terrifying power hidden in the depleted body of Zhu Lao. If you have cultivated your spiritual power to the level of an immortal master, you are qualified to compete with a half-immortal or a powerhouse who has just stepped into the level of Docian. As for the celestial master, he also has the qualifications to fight against Docian fighters. As far as I'm concerned, even if you can't defeat an ordinary 1-star or 2-star Docian powerhouse, you can still remain unharmed. Elder Zhu also thought about it for a while, and then said solemnly, the Do formation master is so terrifying. Xiaoyan also murmured. Obviously Xiaoyan also knew that the strength of the old Zhou in front of him should still be at the level of Dodi, at most a 9-star Dodi. Docian strong will definitely not. But what shocked Xiaoyan the most was the huge spiritual power of Elder Zhu in front of him. With the special occupation of Do formation master and the strength of the 9-star Dodi, even fighting against a Docian strong be invincible. Hehe, you don't have to be too ambitious, and your future Achievements will not be lower than mine. Elder Zhu also comforted Xiaoyan. Teacher, I'll have to thank you for taking care of me from now on. Xiaoyan also laughed slowly. Until this moment, Xiaoyan was also convinced by the old Zhu in front of him. The next moment, Xiaoyan also focused his attention on the core inscription of the White Divine Movement core life hanging in front of him. I think the core inscription of your life is also very strange. Every time I probe his interior, I will be bounced off by a strange force. Although I don't know why, the core inscription of your life gives me the feeling that it's like the ocean, like a deep abyss, like a prison. Zhu Lao also stared at the core inscription of the divine life in front of Xiaoyan and slowly scrutinized it. Hearing this, Xiaoyan also frowned, because the condensation of this core inscription is largely from the mysterious scroll Old Man. Now that Old Man is also an unknown old man, there is no way to talk about it, but the only thing that is known is the core inscription just a quarter. The core inscription of your life seems to be a little incomplete. Zhu Lao also shrank his pupils tightly, and then closed his eyes suddenly. At the same time, a huge spiritual force also emerged from Zhu Lao's body in an instant. As soon as the spiritual power emerged, it rushed towards Xiaoyan's inscription on the core of his divine life. The next moment, Zhu Lao's spiritual power also passed through the core inscription of life. No wonder. Elder Zhu also withdrew his mental strength. The next moment, and then smiled slowly. Cough, cough. Xiaoyan was also extremely shocked. Obviously, when Elder Zhu's huge mental power appeared just now, Xiaoyan also found that compared with that mental power, he was as small as an ant. The core inscription of your life should be incomplete. Elder Zhu also said to Xiaoyan, when I got this scroll in the ruins, an unknown old man opened up my spiritual realm for me, and the core inscription of the divine movement was also given to me by that unknown old man. The nameless old man also said back then that the core inscription of the divine movement is only a quarter. Xiaoyan also tried his best to recall. Don't worry, none of this is important, and it won't affect your spiritual power cultivation. As long as you cultivate well, I will solve these things for you. Elder Zhu also said slowly, with extremely confident pride in his voice. This disciple thanked the teacher first. Xiaoyan heard the words and glanced at the Elder Zhu in front of him gratefully. Obviously, in terms of the status of the Elder Zhu, it seemed that he was a condescending elder to serve as the elder in the burning incense pavilion. However, he didn't think too much, because the old man in front of him was also Xiaoyan's teacher, so Xiaoyan didn't care about the teacher's thoughts. Take it back. Looking at how vague your spiritual power cultivation is, have you mastered the way to cultivate spiritual power? Old Zhu also frowned, and then he felt the somewhat disordered spiritual power in Xiaoyan's body. Old Zhu, my spiritual power cultivation is completely a layman. There is no correct way to cultivate spiritual power, so the progress is so slow. Xiaoyan said helplessly. After all, if he had known the cultivation method of spiritual power earlier with Xiaoyan's temperament, his current mental strength is not weak. It's no wonder you. After all, there are so few Do formation masters, even in the entire continent, so very little is known about the cultivation methods of this spiritual power. But I see that your spiritual power has initially entered the level of a formation. You can rely on your own exploration to enter the formation, which is enough to show your deep understanding of the Do formation master. Zhu Lao was also quite relieved. Old Zhu, the way to cultivate spiritual power. Xiaoyan also said, the cultivation of spiritual power is different from the cultivation of your alchemist soul power, and it is also different from the cultivation of Doqi. The cultivation of spiritual power depends on meditation, or to absorb the essence of the sun and the moon. After Zhu Lao finished speaking, he also put on a rather sophisticated look, and then stared at Xiaoyan tightly. Meditation. Absorb the essence of the sun and the moon. Xiaoyan was also the first to hear about the cultivation method of spiritual power, and he was immediately puzzled. Okay, let's go here first today. I'll teach you the extra things when we come back from the Suan Emperor Pond. Today, our burning incense pavilion seems to have guests. After Zhu Lao finished speaking, the wooden door of the house quietly opened, and then he looked into the distance. At the same time, there were several uninvited guests outside the burning incense pavilion and burning heaven territory. Chapter 328, Sad Reminder of the Sixth Prince Du-he. There was a group of 5 people. The leader was a burly man with a very conspicuous scar on his left eye, and the other 4 slowly followed behind. Is it right here? A man with a fierce aura also said slowly to the people around him. Reporting to the 6th prince, the 3 people who are eligible to enter our Suan Emperor pond for immersion this time are in it. A follower also said slowly, since it's on the way this time, let me take them back. The man known as the 6th prince also said slowly, but there was a strong contempt in his voice. Obviously, for the 3 most outstanding people felt strange to join the burning incense pavilion, and even if they joined the burning incense pavilion, they still had to go to soak in the extremely precious Suan Emperor pond in their Suan imperial family. That is the Suan Emperor pond. Even their direct descendants are not qualified to enter. The only way to enter is only those who have made great contributions to the Su and Anling royal family. Du-he, the 6th prince of the Suanling royal family, is a powerful man in the peak level of the 5-star Dode. What kind of people are these people? How can the lions open their mouths to ask our Suanling royal family to come up with 3 qualifications? Du-he is also extremely puzzled. Obviously, he is outside all year round, and he is also concerned about some of the current Suanling royal family. The form is also unclear. Reporting to the 6th prince, these 3 people participated in the points-grabbing competition and made great contributions to the fight against the twin ghost emperors. Therefore, they have united the powerhouses of the 9 super sects, and they will definitely give it together. The entourage also continued, the 3 behind the back. The position is more like a guard, protecting the 6th prince. It doesn't matter, let's go in first. Du-he also shook his head, and then suddenly urged his grudge. 6th prince, absolutely. The sky above each of these sects is forbidden. If you forcibly break in, even if you are the 6th prince of the Suanling royal family, these sects have sufficient reasons to kill you. The entourage was also frightened. Then he said to the 6th prince, why is it so troublesome? Du-he also stared slightly at the red-hot burning heaven territory, and a faint wave emanated from it. It seemed that what his entourage said was true. 6th prince, let's forget it. The 3 of them going to the Suanling royal family will definitely be led by their strong incense pavilion. After all, the relationship between our Suanling imperial family and the incense pavilion is also. Let's not get involved. The attendant also whispered. Since you are here, you must not return empty-handed. Du-he also said plainly, as if the breath just disappeared, revealing the dignity and elegance that a prince should have. But it's not like you don't know the temper of our King Suanling. If it doesn't work out. The attendant was also extremely worried. Enough. I have the final say here. Du-he also said angrily. Hey, the 6 prince are still so confused to win the respect of King Suanling. Burning incense pavilion, isn't it something you can shake as a mere 5-star Dode in the peak level? The entourage also slowly retreated behind Du-he, and then slowly looked at the sky above burning incense pavilion. He has already notified the people of the burning incense pavilion, and he will surely come out to greet them soon. Old bamboo. This is. Xiaoyan also relied on his huge soul power to sense Du-he, and then turned his head to look at Zulao. Hehe, it's okay, let's bask him for a while. You go and call Mu Yingying and Mu Feng. It's better to hit the sun if you choose another day. Today we will follow them to the Suanling royal family. The effect of the Suanling Emperor pond is quite peculiar. Elder Zhu also smiled slowly. Yes. Xiaoyan agreed, then slowly exited the room and walked towards. At this time, Xiaoyan also did not care about the cultivation method of spiritual power or other things. After all, it was more important to soak in the Suanling Emperor pond. Because the Suanling royal family seems to have a holy flame. Even Xiaoyan had a bold guess. It is very likely that holy flame is in the Suanling royal family. Hehe, Du-he, the 6th prince of the Suanling royal family. Elder Zhu also said slowly, then with a movement, he instantly disappeared into his wooden house. Damn burning incense pavilion. Du-he originally waited quietly outside the burning heaven territory, but minutes passed by, and people from the burning incense pavilion were not seen coming out to greet him, which made him extremely unhappy. After all, what are you talking about? Du-he is also a dignified prince. Wherever he goes, he is not a servile and courteous person. When and where did he receive this kind of treatment? It seems that the relationship between the Burning Incense Pavilion and our Suanling royal family will only be more serious than I imagined. The follower also sighed slowly. After all, he is only a lowly follower, and he knows very little about the relationship between the two. But one thing this follower can be sure of is that the sixth prince will definitely not be able to eat and walk around, because the background of the Burning Incense Pavilion is extremely terrifying. Incense Pavilion, why don't you come out to meet this prince? The sixth prince, Douhe, was also full of breath, and then gathered his douqi into a voice, which spread mightily outside the Burning Incense territory. Hehe, who am I supposed to be? It turned out to be King Suanling's dog son. A strange voice also slowly appeared beside Douhe. Then the next moment, Douhe also felt that the source of the voice came from all directions in front of him, and he couldn't find the source of the sound at all, which made Douhe a little scared. In this case, there is only one possibility, then the person who came here at this time is much stronger than himself. We don't welcome people from the Suanling royal family here. Tell me, do you want to kill yourself here or do I do it? After speaking, an old man dressed in plain clothes also slowly appeared outside the Burning Heaven territory. When Douhe and the other 5 saw the old man, a fearful thought also occurred spontaneously, and the next moment, they turned around and ran away without looking back. Because the 5 of them all felt the real killing intent from this old man. Damn it. This is an accident. Douhe also stopped with a few people around him when he had escaped some distance, because they discovered that the space outside the Burning Heaven territory was actually banned by the old man. Sixth prince, you go first. The 3 guards beside him also said to Douhe. Although Douhe is eager to make a contribution, their responsibility is to protect the sixth prince, even if it is shattered. Haha, let's do it. Elder Zhu also spoke slowly. It seems that the relationship between Zhu Lao and the Suanling royal family seems to be worse than I thought. Xiaoyan also secretly said. At the same time, the 3 of them, Mu Feng and Mu Yingying, were also rushing out of the Burning Heaven territory. Elder from Burning Incense Pavilion is actually embarrassing a junior like me, so I'm not afraid of others laughing at it when it spreads. Douhe also knew that there was no hope of escape, and immediately said in a deep voice, Haha, this is all learned from your father Wang. You brought it into our Burning Incense Pavilion sect without authorization, in an attempt to steal the secrets of my sect. Is this reason enough? Die. After Elder Zhu finished speaking, an extremely terrifying wave slowly radiated out. Chapter 329, The Collision Between Suanling King's Clone and Zhu Lao Dodi's Peak Powerhouse. Boom boom boom. A terrifying energy beam also emanated from Zhu Lao's body, and then the next moment, it also slowly flew towards Douhe, the sixth prince not far away. The energy beam whizzed away with overwhelming power, and the space was shattered in the path, as if it could not bear the power. Moreover, even the space around Douhe was solidified, and the next moment, Douhe's inner terror also permeated. His pupils shrank tightly, and just now he wanted to stimulate the douqi in his body, but he found that he was suppressed by the invisible spiritual power of the old Zhu, and the douqi could not be used. Such a strange suppression. Damn it. It's actually the undefeated god of war, ashes. The entourage beside the sixth prince Douhe also said with a sullen face. Obviously, you can recognize this terrifying existence at a glance. This undefeated god of war is one of the most terrifying beings in the Incense Pavilion. Even if the 5 of them are given 100 courage, they would not dare to provoke them. Just when Elder Zhu's terrifying beam was about to attack Douhe, the 3 guards beside Douhe also looked at each other, and then their figures flashed, and they came to Douhe in an instant. Looking at the appearance, it was obvious that he was going to resist this Douhe. After all, their mission is to protect the sixth prince, and even at a critical time, maybe they have to sacrifice themselves. Hehe, the undefeated god of war bullies a junior like this, but you lose your identity. Even when the terrifying beam attacked the 3 guards, a very loud voice accompanied by an illusory figure slowly appeared in the sixth prince Douhe's side. As soon as the illusory figure appeared, he waved at the energy beam emitted by Zhu Lao, and the energy beam dissipated immediately. Hehe, King Su and Onling. It's really been a long time. When Zhu Lao was looking at this energy figure, he also slowly laughed, because Zhu Lao made such a move because he also found that there is some power in the dark at Du He's side. Otherwise, with Zhu Lao's concentration, he would not have shot this Du He so easily. After all, Zhu Lao was representing the burning incense pavilion at this time. Elder Zhu's smile is quite bright, but anyone with discernment can find some different fluctuations in it. It is as if Elder Zhu hides a knife in his smile. Xiaoyan, why did Elder Zhu come out? It's not like I heard that this old Zhu is the most dependent on the old and the youngest in the burning incense pavilion. Besides Xiaoyan, Mu Yingying also spoke slowly. This old Zhu is one of the strongest in our incense pavilion. How could it be possible to rely on the old and fight the old? At most, there are some arrogance as a strong. Cough, cough, cough. Xiaoyan also said slowly. Obviously these words were listened to by Zhu Lao outside the incense territory, and he immediately glanced at not far from himself, and moved towards Xiaoyan who came by himself. This kid. Elder Zhu also said slowly, and the next moment, his pupils also became a little deeper, and then he stared at the illusory figure of King Suanling in front of him. Obviously, even if this is just the Doqi energy clone of the Su and Anling King, it should not be underestimated. After all, the strength displayed by the Suanling King when he selected his disciples that day has already reached the level of the 9-star Dode, but he doesn't know that. He has set foot on the level of a few turns. This is old bamboo. It is said that the status of this Elder Zhu is second only to the main and deputy pavilion masters and a few elders in the incense pavilion. Mu Feng also grinned. Oh. Hearing this, Xiaoyan stared at Mu Feng with great interest. Although Mu Feng could be trusted, when combined with the infernal corpse forest, Mu Feng seemed to know too much, right? Hehe, my previous teacher was the elder in the incense pavilion, so, Mu Feng also hurriedly explained. No wonder, Xiaoyan suddenly said when he heard the words. It seems like there's going to be a battle in the sky. Mu Yingying also said softly, and then the three of them stopped their steps, and then looked at the confrontation between the old Zhu and King Suanling in the sky. Today's incident was caused by your trespassing into the forbidden space of our burning incense pavilion, so you can't blame us. Elder Zhu was the first to speak. Obviously, no matter how unbearable the relationship between Incense Pavilion and the Suanling royal family is, now that there is the clone of the Suanling king, it is extremely difficult to kill the sixth Prince, Du He. Moreover, Zhu Lao himself and the Suanling royal family also have a deep relationship, but Zhu Lao did not tell Xiaoyan, because Zhu Lao also did not want this grievance to spread to the next generation. What nonsense! Du He is the one I dispatched to your burning incense pavilion to lead you to the Suanling Emperor Pond this time, so you treat him like this. King Suanling also glanced at the 5 people behind him, then turned his head and said yes. Old Zhu said viciously. Du He, who was on the side, didn't dare to speak out. Obviously, he just tried to enter the burning heaven territory without permission. Now that this old Zhu found an excuse, he was speechless. Haha, King Suanling, your ability to confuse right and wrong remains the same as before. But this is my burning incense pavilion, not your Suanling royal family. Elder Zhu also laughed, and at the same time, an arrogant and unruly silver doqi permeated instantly. Humph. King Suanling's energy clone also snorted coldly, and then, unwilling to be outdone, released an extremely huge force. At this time, in the periphery of burning territory, old Zhu was surrounded by silver doqi, and King Suanling's clone was also slowly wrapped by a yellow doqi, which caught everyone's eyes. And a yellow vindictive aura also slowly flowed, and then the invisible 2 auras were secretly stalemate outside the burning incense territory. I didn't expect you, an immortal, to actually touch this threshold. King Suanling's pupils shrank tightly in the next moment, obviously feeling an extremely strange power from the silver doqi on old Zhou's body. Hehe, it's not a problem to deal with you. If you want to run away like 100 years ago, you can try. Elder Zhu also said in a calm manner, but the unquestionable tone in his voice could not be faked. Hehe, 100 years of shame, this king will take it back sooner or later with interest. King Su and Anling's energy clone also said slowly, but the next moment, an extremely terrifying force also slowly disappeared from King Suanling. The king's energy clone is brewing. But before that, I also want to try to see how far you have reached. The mysterious figure of King Xuanling's energy avatar, which is also an illusory figure, slowly made a very eerie sound, and then stared at Zhu Lao. The next moment, the yellow vindictive aura also emerged from within King Xuanling's body, and then gathered in his hand to form an extremely dazzling bead. The seemingly inconspicuous beads, but the power contained in them actually surprised Du He and Xiaoyan, because they also felt the terrifying power contained in the yellow beads. If it erupted outside this burning heaven territory, then this burning heaven territory will also be severely damaged. It's actually a broken yellow bead. Du He's pupils also widened tightly, and then his eyes fixed on the yellow bead on the avatar of the Xuanling king. That bead. It seems unremarkable, but with Du He's eyesight, he can naturally feel the strange power inside. The power contained in the yellow beads. It seems to be a bit like the power of life and death. Chapter 330, Repel. That yellow bead. Just when Xiaoyan was surprised, a slightly surprised voice came from his body. Master, what is the strange power in this yellow bead? Xiaoyan also asked. Obviously at that moment, when Xiaoyan used his huge soul power to detect the yellow bead, the fluctuations are also instantly repulsed. Moreover, Xiaoyan had never felt this kind of power. If it wasn't for Xiaoyan's strong physique, he would have ended up in a rather miserable end. Under Xiaoyan's perception, the power in the Xuanling king's yellow beads seemed to contain a trace of the power of life and death. However, Xiaoyan had no doubt that if the yellow beads were picked up by himself, undoubtedly, there is only one fate, death. It seems that the terrifying strength of this Xuanling king has also reached the 6th rank of the 9-star Dode. The Golden Dragon King also said slowly, obviously thinking about something. Is the 9-star Dode above rank 6? Xiaoyan also muttered in his heart. What about the power of life and death? The next moment, Xiaoyan's pupils also became hot, because from the perception just now, the reason why the yellow beads had such a terrifying power must be because of the strange life and death force. Haha, this power of life and death is a good thing. Because the sign of a strong Douxian is the power of life and death within the body of Douqi, and this power of life and death can only be condensed by stepping into the 9-star Dode and entering the 9 revolutions. When the power of life and death in the body condenses to a certain level, it will also be promoted to Douxian. Douxian is to cultivate to the realm of detachment from life and death. The voice of the Golden Dragon King also appeared slowly. Hearing this, Xiaoyan frowned, as if he was thinking about something. The next moment, in the depths of Xiaoyan's soul realm, a dark brown soul light group also vibrated slowly, and then fell silent again. What is this? Xiaoyan also muttered, and it was obvious that the one who had just made a noise was the holy flame soul seed he obtained in the Yin Corpse forest before. This King Xuanling seems to have the fluctuation of holy flame. Dragon King also said slowly the next moment. Holy flame. Is it really in the Xuanling royal family? Xiaoyan heard the words and also discovered the extremely weak flame fluctuations before the Xuanling King clone. Based on Xiaoyan's experience, although this King Xuanling possesses some power of the holy flame, it does not mean that he devoured the holy flame. Although this is a clone, in my opinion, the price of this clone is quite high, and it can also exert nearly 80% of King Xuanling's power. It seems that this trip to the Xuanling royal family seems to have become more interesting. The Golden Dragon King also smiled slowly, and then the next moment, an invisible force also slowly passed into the heavenly fire and the ancient ruler behind Xiaoyan. On top of that, Long Yi accepted this power, and also found that his power that had been stagnant because of being sealed for a long time was slowly recovering. It seems that the Xuanling royal family is really worth a visit. Xiaoyan also smiled slowly, then looked at the battle in the sky. A contest between 2 powerhouses at the peak of Dode. Humph. It's just a little trick of carving insects. If it's your main body here, it's worth fighting. But your avatar's strength is too weak. In that case, the 5 of you should stay in my burning incense pavilion today. Elder Zhu also discovered the yellow bead in King Xuanling's avatar, and then said plainly, with the extremely proud tone in his voice, can't hide it at all. Then let's try it. King Xuanling also snorted coldly, and then slowly opened his mouth. The yellow bead in his hand was also slowly lifted, and then walked towards the space where Elder Zhu was. Shabu shabu. Everywhere the yellow beads passed along the way, there was a shrill sound invariably in the space, and an extremely strange black and white light group slowly wrapped around the yellow beads, and then walked away towards Zulao. King Xuanling, the grievances between you and I will be settled with you sooner or later, Elder Zhu also said slowly, and the next moment, the silver doqi all over his body slowly condensed in front of Elder Zhu. Lightning Fox. The next moment, a powerful force condensed by old Zhu's silver doqi also slowly formed. Xiaoyan saw that, in front of Elder Zhu, a lightning fox also formed in front of Elder Zhu, and then with monstrous destructive power, attacked viciously with King Xuanling's yellow bead. Bang bang bang. There was only a slight noise from the collisions one after another, and Xiaoyan and the others also saw that the yellow bead was actually attacked by Zulao and the silver lightning fox. It was cut in half abruptly. Boom boom boom. After the terrifying yellow bead was chopped in half by Zulao's silver lightning fox, it also exploded instantly, and the terrifying power erupted violently outside the burning heaven territory. On the other hand, the silver lightning fox attacked the clone of King Xuanling reluctantly, as if resisting the yellow bead just didn't use much power. Hihi, I didn't think that even if you didn't rely on your status as a battle formation master, your strength would be enough to overwhelm me. King Xuanling's clone also smiled slowly, and then he raised his head quite a bit when he saw that the terrifying lightning fox was about to attack him. As a noble palm, he gently waved at the 5 people behind him, and the 5 people disappeared instantly. Haha, Zulao, don't be too complacent too early. Some things, I will really get them sooner or later. After King Xuanling's clone finished speaking, it also turned into a cloud of smoke and disappeared without a trace. What is this King Su and Anling doing? Old Zhu also muttered. The next moment, old Zhu's eyelids shook violently, and then his eyes narrowed. Impossible. That kind of thing is absolutely impossible. When Xiaoyan saw this, he was also a little puzzled. He didn't know which old Zulao played. Elder Zhu, are you alright? The next moment Xiaoyan rushed to the sky, where Elder Zhu was, and said to Elder Zhu, I'm fine. Everyone is here, right? Elder Zhu also pondered for a while, then glanced at Mu Feng and Mu Yingying behind Xiaoyan, and said, it's all here. The 3 said in unison. Let's go now. Zulao also said slowly, and then the next moment, Zulao raised his somewhat depleted palm and waved slowly towards the space where the 2 of them were just now, and suddenly an inexplicable force appeared, then repaired some broken spaces outside the burning heaven territory. As for the power that erupted from the yellow beads, when King Xuanling's clone dissipated, it also dissipated naturally. Yeah, Xiaoyan and the others knew the purpose of their trip after hearing this. That is the Xuanling Imperial Pond in the Xuanling Imperial family. This time, the 3 of them, Zulao led the team. With the testimony of Zulao, the Big Buddha, the 3 of them are also full of confidence. After all, they just know that the relationship between the Burning Incense Pavilion and the Xuanling royal family does not seem to be very good, but now that Zulao is in charge, then even King Xuanling would not dare to be presumptuous. After all, this old Zhu was the one who repelled King Xuanling just now. Although it was only a clone, it was a real repelling.
Hi. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get updated on my latest video. Thank you for watching.